Hello and welcome to Sleepy Lab. There is nothing you need to do right now and nowhere you need to be. If you are listening to this while the day fades or while the night stretches on, allow yourself to rest into this moment. Let your shoulders loosen. Let your jaw soften. You do not need to focus or remember anything. You can simply listen or let the sound pass gently through you as your thoughts slow on their own. Tonight we are entering the forest at night, not as visitors who rush through, and not as observers searching for something specific, but as quiet companions, moving slowly alongside a living system that has been shaped by darkness for as long as forests have existed. The forest does not change suddenly when the sun disappears. It transitions gradually, exchanging one rhythm for another, releasing the urgency of light and settling into a pace that favors patience, balance, and quiet continuity. As daylight fades, the forest begins to soften. Colors lose their sharpness. Edges blur gently into shadow. What once stood out clearly now blends into a layered stillness. The bright signals of the day give way to subtler cues, and the forest becomes a place guided less by sight and more by temperature, sound, scent, and memory. This shift is not dramatic. It unfolds slowly, as though the forest is exhaling after a long breath. Air within the forest cools at a different rate than air in open spaces. The canopy overhead slows the release of heat, holding warmth close to the ground for longer than exposed land would allow. As a result, the forest develops its own nighttime atmosphere, slightly insulated, slightly contained. Cooler air drifts downward and settles among roots and fallen leaves, while warmer air lingers higher, creating gentle layers that rarely mix quickly. These layers move so slowly that they are almost impossible to feel, yet they shape the forest's calm. Trees respond to this cooling without urgency. Their trunks and branches contract slightly as temperatures drop, a change measured in tiny increments rather than noticeable movement. Inside each tree, water continues to rise through narrow channels, drawn upward by pressure differences and the slow release of moisture from leaves. Even without sunlight, the internal life of the tree continues steadily, maintaining balance rather than pushing for growth. Leaves, no longer driven by photosynthesis, enter a different phase of activity. Many relax their position, angling downward slightly to reduce exposure to cool air above. Others remain still, collecting moisture as humidity rises. Dew begins to form quietly, bead by bead, settling on leaf surfaces and along fine veins. This moisture helps protect delicate tissues and creates a microenvironment for tiny organisms that depend on damp conditions to survive. The forest floor becomes especially important as night settles in. Layers of fallen leaves act as insulation, trapping warmth in the soil beneath and slowing heat loss. During the day, these leaves absorbed sunlight. At night, they release that stored energy gradually, preventing sudden temperature drops that could stress roots and soil life. Beneath this layer, the ground remains active, alive with organisms that rarely experience true rest. Soil is not inert. It is a complex structure filled with air pockets, moisture, roots, fungi, bacteria, and countless small invertebrates. At night, soil conditions become more stable. Moisture levels even out. Temperatures fluctuate less. These steady conditions support ongoing processes that sustain the entire forest. Microorganisms continue breaking down organic matter, converting fallen leaves and dead wood into nutrients that will eventually feed new growth. Fungi extend delicate networks through this soil, forming vast underground connections that link tree roots across large distances. Through these networks, nutrients and chemical signals move slowly and efficiently. Trees that have access to abundant resources can share with those that are stressed. Warnings about pests or disease can spread quietly. This underground communication does not stop at night. In fact, the stable conditions of darkness allow it to proceed without interruption. As the forest darkens, sound begins to change. The constant activity of daytime insects and birds fades, replaced by a quieter, more spacious soundscape. Noises are fewer, but they travel farther. A distant owl call moves through the trees without hurry. The soft rustle of leaves settling can be heard clearly. Even the quiet fall of a single droplet of water can feel close in still air. The forest is not silent, it is selective. Each sound has room around it. Long stretches of quiet, separate moments of movement, allowing the mind to rest between them. This spacing is one of the forest's most calming qualities at night. There is no need to process many signals at once. Attention can drift, settle, and soften. Animals that are active at night move differently from those of the day. Their movements are efficient and measured, shaped by generations of living in low light. Small mammals follow familiar paths, guided by scent and memory rather than vision. They pause often, listening more than moving. Predators glide with restraint, conserving energy and relying on patience rather than speed. Owls move almost without sound, their feathers designed to soften air turbulence. When they pass overhead, they leave behind little more than a faint change in pressure. This silence is not accidental. It is the result of careful adaptation, allowing them to hunt without revealing their presence. In the forest at night, stillness can be as powerful as motion. Moonlight filters through the canopy in scattered fragments, creating soft patterns that shift slowly as the night progresses. These patches of light do not illuminate the forest fully. They offer just enough contrast to guide movement without disturbing the calm. On nights without a visible moon, starlight and reflected sky glow provide a faint, even presence above the trees, enough for eyes adapted to darkness. Humidity often rises after sunset, as cooler air holds moisture closer to the ground. This moisture settles on bark, moss and soil, deepening colors and softening textures. Moss absorbs water readily, becoming darker and more flexible. Bark takes on a muted sheen. These subtle changes help regulate temperature and protect living surfaces from drying out. The forest at night is a system designed for balance. Energy is conserved, extremes are avoided. Processes that require consistency rather than speed find ideal conditions. Nothing here is trying to impress or rush toward an outcome. The forest simply continues, responding to immediate conditions while maintaining long-term stability. As you imagine this environment, there is no need to hold every detail clearly in mind. The forest does not require full attention. It allows awareness to drift in and out, much like light moving through branches. You can follow a single idea for a while, then let it fade without replacing it. This gentle looseness mirrors the forest's own rhythm. Forests have existed through countless nights like this, through warm seasons and cold ones, through storms and stillness. Each night contributes quietly to their endurance, offering time for recovery, regulation, and subtle adjustment. The forest does not resist darkness, it uses it. You can rest here, alongside these slow processes, without expectation. The night does not demand anything from you. Like the forest, you can simply remain, supported by a system that knows how to continue without strain. And so the forest settles fully into night, calm and unbroken, carrying on with the patience that has shaped it for generations. As the night deepens, the forest moves further away from the memory of daylight. What remains is not emptiness, but a quieter form of fullness, one that does not rely on brightness or speed. The forest now exists almost entirely in gradients. Temperature changes are slow, sound travels gently, movement becomes deliberate rather than frequent. This is the phase of night where balance is no longer forming, but has already settled into place. Air within the forest continues to organize itself into subtle layers. Cooler air sinks and gathers close to the ground, slipping between roots and stones, while slightly warmer air remains higher among trunks and branches. This layering reduces turbulence and creates a sense of stillness that feels deep rather than fragile. The forest becomes its own enclosed environment, less affected by distant winds or open skies beyond its edges. Trees remain upright and steady, their mass providing structure and continuity. Inside them, slow internal processes continue without interruption. Water moves upward through microscopic channels, responding to pressure differences rather than time of day. Nutrients stored during previous days circulate gently, supporting maintenance and repair. These processes do not seek visibility. They exist simply to keep the organism whole. Leaves hold their position quietly. Dew continues to accumulate in small increments, forming thin films that reflect faint light when it is present. This moisture helps reduce water loss and provides a protective layer against cooling. Insects that rest on leaf surfaces benefit from this dampness, finding stable conditions that reduce stress and dehydration. The forest floor becomes a center of quiet activity. Fallen leaves, needles, and twigs create a textured surface that absorbs sound and cushions movement. Beneath this layer, soil organisms remain active, though their motion is slow and efficient. Worms shift soil particles. Bacteria metabolize organic compounds. Fungi continue dissolving complex materials into simpler forms. These actions occur continuously, but night offers the stable conditions they prefer. Roots respond subtly to the cooler air above. With less evaporation from leaves, water pressure within plants adjusts, allowing roots to absorb moisture more effectively. This replenishment supports future growth and helps plants maintain resilience during dry periods. Even in forests where water is abundant, nighttime absorption plays a role in regulating internal balance. Scent becomes a primary carrier of information as night progresses. Without daytime winds to scatter odors, chemical traces linger longer and travel farther. The smell of damp soil, decaying leaves, resin, and bark drifts slowly through the understory. For animals that rely on scent, this creates a detailed map of the forest, revealing recent movement, food sources, and potential threats. Small mammals use this information carefully. They move along familiar routes, pausing often to sample the air. Each pause is brief but meaningful. A shift in scent can indicate danger or opportunity. Movement resumes only when conditions feel right. This pattern of motion and stillness conserves energy and reduces risk, allowing animals to survive with minimal effort. Predators adapt to these same conditions. They position themselves strategically, waiting rather than pursuing. In the quiet air, unnecessary movement becomes a disadvantage. Sound carries far. Scent spreads easily. Patience offers better results than speed. The forest encourages this restraint by rewarding those who move less and notice more. Sound continues to shape nighttime behavior. With fewer competing noises, even small sounds become informative. A branch settling under its own weight, a leaf falling from a higher branch, a distant call echoing softly. These sounds do not overwhelm. They appear briefly, then fade, leaving space behind them. This spacing allows both animals and imagined listeners to remain calm. Insects active at night follow internal rhythms tuned to temperature and humidity. Their calls are measured, rising and falling in cycles that feel steady rather than urgent. These sounds serve specific purposes, such as locating mates or maintaining territory, but they are not constant. Pauses between calls reduce exposure to predators and conserve energy. Owls and other nocturnal birds rely on this acoustic clarity. Their hearing is finely tuned to detect subtle differences in sound, allowing them to locate prey with precision. Flight remains nearly silent, shaped by feathers that disrupt airflow smoothly. When they move, they do so with intention, conserving energy and minimizing disturbance. Above the canopy, the sky continues its slow movement. Stars shift position gradually. Clouds drift, altering light levels by small degrees. These changes influence forest activity without forcing abrupt adjustments. Animals respond fluidly, increasing or reducing movement based on relative brightness rather than fixed schedules. Seasonal context influences the night forest as well. In warmer months, nighttime activity is richer, with insects, amphibians, and mammals taking advantage of moderate temperatures. In colder seasons, movement becomes more selective. Energy conservation takes priority. Yet even in winter, the forest remains active beneath the surface, protected by insulating layers of snow and leaf litter. Snow transforms nighttime conditions dramatically. It reflects available light, increasing visibility while absorbing sound. Movement becomes quieter and more deliberate. Beneath snow, soil temperatures remain relatively stable, protecting roots and microorganisms. Small mammals create tunnel systems that allow them to move and forage without exposure to cold air. Rain alters the forest differently. Moisture dampens surfaces, reducing sound and increasing weight on leaves and branches. Sound of rain creates a continuous backdrop that masks individual movements. For some animals, this offers cover, allowing travel with reduced risk of detection. For plants, rain replenishes reserves and supports future growth. Through all these variations, the forest maintains internal balance. Feedback loops regulate temperature, moisture, and nutrient flow. Excess heat dissipates. Water redistributes. Life adjusts gradually rather than dramatically. This capacity for self-regulation allows forests to persist across changing conditions without requiring constant intervention. As you imagine these processes, there is no need to track them closely. The forest does not demand attention. It allows awareness to rest lightly, drifting from one idea to another without effort. This quality mirrors the way forests themselves operate at night, relying on gentle adjustments rather than forceful change. The night continues its slow progression. Darkness remains steady. The forest holds its shape, sustained by countless small processes working together. Nothing here is hurried. Nothing is incomplete. The system continues quietly, just as it has through countless nights before. You can remain here, alongside this steady rhythm, allowing thoughts to soften and settle, knowing that the forest will continue its quiet work whether noticed or not. As the night advances further, the forest enters a span of time where change becomes almost invisible. This is the deep middle of the night, when darkness is no longer arriving and morning still feels distant enough to be irrelevant. The forest does not anticipate what comes next. It remains fully within the present, guided only by immediate conditions and long-established rhythms that do not require awareness or intention. Air within the forest grows increasingly stable. Earlier temperature differences between open spaces and dense stands soften as cooling completes and the exchange of heat slows. This stability reduces air movement even further, allowing stillness to feel complete rather than temporary. Leaves hang without motion. Branches remain balanced in place. The space between trunks feels held, as though the forest is gently containing itself. Trees stand as steady vertical forms, anchoring the forest both physically and rhythmically. Internally, they continue to regulate pressure, moisture, and chemical balance with remarkable precision. Tiny structures within their tissues open and close gradually, adjusting flow without abrupt shifts. These processes are not timed to the clock, but to gradients of pressure and concentration that change slowly over hours. Night offers ideal conditions for this kind of regulation, uninterrupted by sudden heat or wind. Within each tree, stored energy is managed carefully. Sugars produced during the day are redistributed to support maintenance rather than growth. Cells repair minor damage accumulated from heat, light, and mechanical stress. Structural components stabilize. This work does not create visible change, but it preserves integrity over long spans of time. Night is when trees invest in endurance rather than expansion. Leaves continue to interact with the surrounding air even without sunlight. Respiration persists, with oxygen entering and carbon dioxide leaving through microscopic openings. Across an entire forest, this exchange is immense in scale, yet gentle in effect. The air shifts slightly, absorbing what trees release and offering what they require. This exchange does not compete with animal respiration. It blends with it, forming part of a shared atmospheric balance. On the forest floor, life remains active in ways that rarely draw attention. Invertebrates move through leaf litter, guided by texture and chemical cues rather than sight. Their movements are small and efficient, rarely wasted. Many pause frequently, conserving energy and responding to subtle changes in their environment. This pacing spreads effort evenly across the night, reducing stress and risk. Fungi thrive in these conditions. Their networks expand slowly through soil and decaying wood, dissolving complex materials into simpler compounds. This breakdown releases nutrients back into the system, making them available to roots and microorganisms. Nighttime stability allows these processes to continue without interruption, reinforcing the forest's ability to recycle its own material endlessly. Decaying logs become centers of quiet activity. Inside their softened interiors, beetles, larvae, and microorganisms feed and build. Moisture remains trapped within the wood, creating a protected environment that buffers against external temperature swings. From the outside, a log may appear inert, but within it, life proceeds steadily, reshaping the material from the inside out. Sound remains sparse but meaningful. Without wind, vibrations travel cleanly. A single movement can be detected across surprising distances. Animals respond by moving with restraint. Steps are placed carefully, pauses are frequent. Listening becomes as important as motion. This shared attentiveness contributes to the forest's overall calm, reducing unnecessary disturbance. Nocturnal birds communicate with short-spaced calls that travel efficiently through still air. These calls serve specific purposes, such as maintaining territory or locating a mate, but they are not continuous. Silence between calls allows information to stand out clearly. The forest's acoustic environment supports this clarity, absorbing excess noise and preventing echoes from lingering. Predators rely on this clarity as well. Many hunt by sound, locating prey through faint movements beneath leaves or soil. They listen patiently, adjusting position by small degrees rather than pursuing quickly. Success depends on timing and restraint, not speed. This approach conserves energy and minimizes risk, aligning with the forest's overall nighttime strategy. Small mammals respond by minimizing noise. They choose paths that avoid dry leaves and brittle twigs. They move slowly, stopping often to assess their surroundings. Even breathing can become controlled, synchronized with pauses in movement. This careful behavior is not driven by fear alone, but by efficiency. Energy saved now supports survival later. The canopy above remains largely still, but it continues to influence conditions below. By limiting heat loss and reducing exposure to open sky, it maintains a moderated environment that benefits the entire forest. This protective effect is especially important during clear nights, when radiative cooling can be significant. The canopy acts as a buffer, slowing the escape of warmth. Above the canopy, the sky continues its slow rotation. Stars shift position gradually, marking time without sound or signal. Cloud cover drifts, altering humidity and temperature by small degrees. These changes are absorbed by the forest without disruption, folded into existing patterns rather than forcing new ones. Seasonal context continues to shape nighttime behavior. In summer, warmth supports higher metabolic rates and increased activity. In autumn, cooler nights encourage preparation and conservation. In winter, long nights and cold temperatures limit movement but do not stop it entirely. Beneath snow, soil remains insulated, protecting roots and microorganisms. Tunnels created by small mammals allow movement without exposure to harsh air. Snow transforms the forest's nighttime character. It reflects available light, increasing visibility while absorbing sound. Movement becomes quieter and more deliberate. Tracks appear briefly, then fade as wind and time erase them. Beneath snow, the forest continues its quiet work, largely unchanged by surface conditions. Rain introduces a different kind of stillness. Droplets dampen surfaces, increasing weight and reducing vibration. The sound of rain creates a continuous backdrop that masks individual movements. For some animals, this offers cover. For plants, rain replenishes moisture and supports recovery. The forest integrates rain into its rhythm without resistance. Throughout these variations, feedback loops maintain balance. Temperature influences moisture. Moisture influences decomposition. Decomposition influences nutrient availability. Nutrients influence growth. Growth reshapes canopy structure, which in turn influences temperature and moisture. These loops operate continuously, guided by physical and biological principles rather than conscious control. The forest's ability to self-regulate is one of its most enduring qualities. It does not require constant adjustment from outside forces. Instead, it responds incrementally to changes, absorbing variation without losing stability. Night provides ideal conditions for this gradual regulation, free from the intensity of direct sunlight. As you imagine these systems at work, you may notice how little effort they require. Nothing is forced, nothing is rushed. Each process operates within limits that have been refined over long spans of time. This approach to existence can feel calming. Offering an alternative to urgency and constant demand, the forest does not attempt to solve problems immediately. It allows conditions to settle, averages them over time, and responds gradually. This patience is not passive, it is a form of resilience, allowing the system to persist through uncertainty and change. You can let your own thoughts follow this pattern. There is no need to resolve anything now. Like the forest, you can remain responsive without being reactive. Awareness can soften, resting on the idea of continuity rather than outcome. The night remains deep and steady. The forest holds its form, sustained by countless small adjustments happening quietly and continuously. Nothing here requires attention. Nothing demands effort. The system simply continues, balanced and unbroken, carrying on through the dark with the same calm persistence it has always known. As the night continues its slow unfolding, the forest enters a state where continuity becomes its most defining feature. Nothing dramatic announces this phase. There is no clear boundary where one condition ends and another begins. Instead, the forest remains held within a steady equilibrium, shaped by repetition and moderation rather than change. This is the hour when the forest feels most self-contained, least influenced by the world beyond its edges. Air pressure settles into a quiet balance. Earlier movements of cooling air have slowed, and the forest atmosphere becomes gently layered and stable. Without wind to disturb it, the air feels denser, as though it has weight. This density changes how sound and scent behave, allowing both to travel farther without dispersing quickly. The forest becomes more internally connected, with information moving softly through shared space. Trees continue to stand as anchors within this environment. Their height and mass shape the movement of air and moisture, creating vertical gradients that remain consistent through the night. Within their trunks, the slow movement of water persists, guided by pressure and cohesion rather than force. This movement does not depend on light, it depends on balance, and balance is something the forest maintains naturally in darkness. Inside each tree, cellular processes continue at a pace suited to long-term survival. Energy is allocated carefully. Maintenance takes priority over growth. Structural tissues remain supported, and chemical signals circulate slowly, coordinating responses that may not become visible until long after the night has passed. These signals accumulate quietly, influencing future behavior without urgency. Leaves remain largely still, but they are not inactive. Gas exchange continues, though at reduced rates. Moisture on their surfaces moderates temperature and protects delicate tissues from drying. Insects resting among leaves benefit from this stable microclimate, finding shelter without needing to burrow or hide deeply. The forest offers layers of protection simply through its structure. On the ground, the forest floor continues to regulate conditions beneath it. Leaf litter absorbs moisture and releases it gradually, preventing extremes. Soil retains warmth accumulated earlier, releasing it upward slowly. This gentle exchange helps protect roots and microorganisms from stress. The ground remains a place of quiet continuity, where life proceeds steadily without interruption. Microbial communities within the soil remain active, metabolizing organic matter and cycling nutrients. Their activity is influenced by moisture and temperature rather than light, making night an ideal time for consistent operation. These organisms form the foundation of the forest's nutrient economy, converting fallen material into usable forms that sustain plant life over time. Fungi continue their slow expansion through soil and decaying wood. Their networks act as conduits for nutrients and chemical signals, linking individual plants into a shared system. This connectivity allows resources to move where they are needed, supporting weaker individuals and maintaining overall stability. The forest functions less as a collection of separate trees and more as an integrated whole. Insects active during this phase of the night often reduce movement further. Many enter short periods of rest between brief foraging sessions, conserving energy and minimizing exposure. These pauses are not signs of inactivity, but of efficiency. By spreading effort across time, insects reduce risk and maintain endurance. Predators remain attentive but restrained. They rely on familiarity with the landscape rather than constant movement. Known paths, habitual crossing points, and predictable prey behavior guide their decisions. This reliance on memory and patience reduces unnecessary energy expenditure and aligns with the forest's overall calm. Sound remains minimal but meaningful. The forest's acoustic environment favors clarity over volume. Each sound stands on its own, separated by silence. This spacing allows animals to interpret information accurately without being overwhelmed. It also contributes to the forest's calming effect, as the mind does not need to process continuous noise. Water continues to shape nighttime conditions. Streams flow steadily, their surfaces smoothing without wind. Evaporation slows, allowing moisture to remain within the system. Aquatic insects adjust activity levels in response to temperature and oxygen availability, linking water and land ecosystems through shared rhythms. Above, the sky continues its slow progression. Subtle shifts in cloud cover influence humidity and temperature below. These changes are absorbed by the forest gradually, without disruption. The canopy moderates their impact, maintaining a consistent internal environment. Seasonal patterns remain present even in this moment of apparent stillness. The length of night influences hormonal signals in plants, guiding future growth and dormancy. Animals respond to accumulated cues rather than single events, adjusting behavior over time rather than reacting immediately. This long-term perspective is embedded in the forest's structure. During this phase, the forest often feels timeless. Without strong visual cues or significant change, it becomes difficult to sense progression. This timelessness can feel grounding, offering relief from the pressure of measured time. The forest exists without reference to clocks, guided instead by physical gradients and biological rhythms. You may notice that imagining this environment encourages your own thoughts to slow. The forest does not demand decisions or conclusions, it allows presence without expectation. This quality can feel supportive, offering space for the mind to rest without effort. The darkness itself acts as a stabilizing influence. By reducing stimulation, it limits unnecessary activity and allows recovery to take place. Within this reduced sensory field, life continues efficiently, guided by long-established patterns rather than impulse. As the night continues, the forest remains unchanged in any dramatic sense, yet constantly maintained. Balance is preserved through countless small adjustments rather than through large movements. This approach allows the system to endure stress, absorb variation, and remain resilient across time. You can allow this steadiness to exist alongside you without effort. There is nothing here that requires interpretation or response. The forest will continue its quiet work regardless of observation, sustained by systems that have learned how to persist without interruption. The night remains deep and calm, and the forest remains at ease within it, carrying on with a patience shaped by countless nights before this one. As the night carries on, the forest settles into a depth of calm that feels both expansive and contained. This is a period when the forest seems to rest within itself, supported by structures and processes that require no immediate change. The absence of urgency becomes a defining quality. Nothing is waiting to happen, nothing is rushing toward morning. The forest exists fully in the present span of darkness, shaped by repetition rather than anticipation. The air remains cool and evenly distributed, its movement slow to the point where it feels almost suspended. Without strong currents, heat exchange occurs gradually, allowing temperatures to stabilize across different layers of the forest. This stability reduces stress on living systems, giving them time to adjust without sudden demands. The forest becomes a buffered environment, protected from sharp shifts and extremes. Tree canopies continue to play a central role in maintaining this balance. Their overlapping branches reduce exposure to open sky, slowing radiative heat loss and retaining moisture beneath. This creates a vertical gradient that favors consistency, allowing understory plants to remain within a narrow range of conditions. These moderated environments are especially important for young plants, mosses and ferns that depend on stable humidity and temperature. Within trees, long-term regulatory processes continue. Hormonal signals circulate slowly, coordinating growth patterns that respond to accumulated information rather than immediate conditions. These signals influence when buds will form, when leaves will emerge, and when resources will be allocated to reproduction or storage. Night provides uninterrupted time for these signals to move and integrate, shaping future behavior quietly. Roots respond to the surrounding soil with equal patience. Moisture uptake adjusts subtly as internal pressures shift. Roots explore their immediate surroundings incrementally, guided by gradients of water and nutrients rather than by direction or speed. This slow exploration ensures stability above ground, anchoring trees firmly and maintaining access to essential resources. The soil itself remains a center of quiet activity. Its structure allows water and gases to move gradually, maintaining balance between oxygen and carbon dioxide levels. Microorganisms continue metabolizing organic matter, releasing nutrients that diffuse slowly through the soil. These processes do not peak or decline sharply at night. They proceed steadily, benefiting from consistent moisture and temperature. Leaf litter continues to insulate and protect the ground. By absorbing sound and cushioning movement, it contributes to the forest's overall quiet. This layer also serves as habitat for countless small organisms, providing food and shelter in a stable environment. The slow breakdown of this material replenishes soil nutrients, supporting the forest's ability to sustain itself over time. Insects active during this part of the night often move with heightened efficiency. Their activity patterns reflect a balance between foraging and rest, shaped by internal clocks that minimize risk. Short bursts of movement are followed by pauses, allowing energy to be conserved. This pacing spreads effort evenly across the night, reducing strain on limited resources. Mammals follow similar principles. Familiar routes guide movement, reducing the need for exploration. These paths avoid open spaces and noisy surfaces, favoring cover and silence. Movement remains deliberate, shaped by awareness rather than speed. This restraint aligns with the forest's quiet, reinforcing the calm environment. Predators remain attentive but selective. They position themselves near reliable resources or along habitual travel routes, waiting rather than pursuing. This patience conserves energy and reduces unnecessary exposure. The forest rewards this approach by preserving acoustic clarity, allowing faint sounds to carry without interference. Sound continues to be an important organizing force. In the absence of wind, the forest's acoustic properties favor gentle diffusion. Trunks, leaves, and moss absorb vibrations, preventing sharp echoes. Each sound remains distinct but brief, appearing and fading without lingering. This creates a soundscape that feels open rather than crowded. Water remains integrated into the forest's rhythm. Streams and small flows continue steadily, their surfaces smoother in still air. Evaporation slows, allowing water to remain within the system longer. Aquatic and semi-aquatic organisms adjust their activity accordingly, linking water and land through shared conditions. The sky above continues its slow progression, though its influence remains subtle beneath the canopy. Variations in cloud cover alter humidity and temperature by small degrees. These changes are absorbed gradually, folded into the forest's existing balance. The canopy moderates their impact, preventing abrupt shifts. Seasonal influences remain present, guiding long-term behavior rather than immediate response. Plants and animals respond to accumulated cues, such as night length and temperature trends, rather than to single events. This long-term integration allows the forest to prepare for future conditions without overreacting to temporary fluctuations. During this phase, the forest often feels deeply settled. Without strong sensory changes, time becomes less noticeable. This lack of temporal markers can feel soothing, offering relief from structured schedules and expectations. The forest exists without reference to minutes or hours, guided instead by physical and biological rhythms. You may find that imagining this environment allows your own sense of time to soften. Thoughts lose urgency, attention becomes less focused on outcomes and more on presence. The forest does not demand resolution. It allows processes to unfold gradually, trusting in continuity rather than intervention. The darkness itself continues to support this state. By reducing visual stimulation, it limits excess activity and encourages rest and recovery. Life continues efficiently within this reduced sensory field, guided by patterns refined over long periods. As the night progresses, the forest remains stable, maintained by countless small adjustments rather than large movements. This approach allows resilience to emerge naturally, enabling the system to absorb change without losing balance. You can remain alongside this steadiness without effort. There is nothing here that requires attention or action. The forest continues its quiet work regardless of observation, sustained by systems that have learned how to persist through repetition and patience. The night remains calm and unbroken, and the forest continues within it, steady and self-sustaining, shaped by countless nights like this one. As the night continues to hold the forest in its quiet span, a deeper layer of steadiness becomes apparent, one that exists beyond individual movements or sounds. This steadiness is not the absence of activity, but the presence of regulation. The forest has reached a point where its systems are fully aligned with nighttime conditions, and the need for adjustment has largely passed. What remains is maintenance, endurance, and the subtle refinement of balance. The air feels settled, almost anchored in place. Earlier cooling has completed its most noticeable shifts, and temperature now changes so gradually that it is barely perceptible. This slow pace allows living tissues to remain within comfortable limits, reducing stress and conserving energy. Without sharp gradients to drive movement, the air rests among trunks and branches, creating an environment that feels enclosed and protective. Trees continue to function as stabilizing structures within this space. Their mass absorbs and releases heat slowly, buffering the forest against extremes. Inside their trunks, water columns remain intact, supported by cohesion and pressure that do not require daylight. Nutrients circulate gently, supporting cells engaged in repair rather than growth. This nighttime focus on maintenance preserves strength over long spans, allowing trees to endure seasons of variation. The canopy above shapes conditions below in quiet but important ways. By limiting exposure to open sky, it reduces radiative cooling and retains moisture within the forest interior. This moderation benefits understory plants that rely on consistent humidity and temperature. Seedlings, mosses, and ferns remain sheltered, drawing advantage from the collective structure created by taller trees. Roots continue to respond to their surroundings with sensitivity rather than speed. Moisture uptake adjusts incrementally as internal pressures equalize. Root tips extend slowly into nearby soil, guided by chemical gradients that indicate where nutrients and water are available. This exploration is patient and efficient, supporting stability above ground without dramatic change. The soil remains an active but quiet foundation. Its structure allows gases to diffuse gradually, maintaining balance between oxygen and carbon dioxide. Moisture remains evenly distributed, supporting microbial communities that continue to metabolize organic matter. These microorganisms operate continuously, breaking down complex materials and releasing nutrients that sustain plant life. Nighttime stability allows these processes to proceed without interruption. Fungi remain central to this underground activity. Their networks persistently connect roots and soil, facilitating the movement of nutrients and chemical signals. These networks do not expand rapidly at night, but they maintain continuity, ensuring that resources remain accessible where they are needed. The forest's ability to function as an integrated system depends on this quiet connectivity. On the surface, leaf litter continues to play a protective role. It insulates the soil, absorbs moisture, and muffles sound. This layer supports countless small organisms that find food and shelter within it. The slow decomposition of this material replenishes soil nutrients, closing the loop between growth and decay. Night provides ideal conditions for this recycling, with stable moisture and reduced disturbance. Insects active during these hours often move minimally, conserving energy. Many enter brief resting phases between short bouts of activity, responding to internal rhythms that balance need and risk. This intermittent pattern spreads energy use across the night, preventing exhaustion and reducing exposure to predators. Mammals mirror this restraint. Movement remains purposeful rather than frequent. Familiar routes guide travel, minimizing noise and uncertainty. Pauses are common, allowing animals to listen and assess conditions before proceeding. This careful pacing aligns with the forest's quiet, reinforcing the overall sense of calm. Predators remain present but unhurried. They rely on patience and positioning rather than pursuit. Known pathways and habitual prey behavior inform their choices. By moving less, they conserve energy and reduce the chance of detection. The forest supports this approach by preserving acoustic clarity and minimizing background noise. Sound continues to function as a subtle organizing force. In the still air, even small noises carry meaning. A slight rustle may indicate movement. A distant call may signal territory. Because sounds are spaced out, they are easier to interpret, reducing confusion and unnecessary response. This clarity benefits both animals and the imagined listener, creating an environment that feels orderly rather than chaotic. Water remains a steady presence. Streams flow quietly, their surfaces smooth without wind. Evaporation slows, allowing moisture to remain within the system. Aquatic organisms adjust their activity to match temperature and oxygen levels, linking water and forest ecosystems through shared rhythms. Above, the sky continues its slow movement. Clouds drift, subtly influencing humidity and temperature below. These changes are absorbed by the forest gradually, without disruption. The canopy moderates their impact, maintaining a consistent internal environment. Seasonal memory continues to guide behavior. Plants and animals respond to accumulated cues rather than immediate conditions. Length of night, temperature trends, and moisture patterns influence hormonal signals and behavioral adjustments over long spans. This integration allows the forest to prepare for future changes without reacting to every variation. During this deep night phase, the forest often feels timeless. Without strong visual cues or noticeable transitions, it becomes difficult to sense the passage of hours. This timelessness can feel comforting, offering relief from structured schedules and expectations. The forest exists without reference to clocks, guided instead by gradients and cycles that unfold naturally. You may notice that imagining this environment encourages your own breathing to slow. The forest offers a model of existing without urgency, where presence is enough and effort is minimal. There is no need to anticipate morning or revisit the day. The night holds everything in a steady span. Darkness itself continues to support this state. By reducing stimulation, it limits unnecessary activity and allows recovery to take place. Within this reduced sensory field, life continues efficiently, guided by patterns refined over long periods. As the night continues, the forest remains unchanged in any dramatic sense, yet constantly maintained. Balance is preserved through countless small adjustments rather than through large movements. This approach allows the system to endure stress, absorb variation, and remain resilient across time. You can remain alongside this steadiness without effort. There is nothing here that requires interpretation or response. The forest will continue its quiet work regardless of observation, sustained by systems that have learned how to persist through patience and repetition. The night remains deep and calm, and the forest remains at ease within it, carrying on with a quiet persistence shaped by countless nights before this one. As the night continues its long, quiet hold, the forest begins to reveal a different quality of calm, one shaped less by stillness and more by quiet awareness. This is not a watchful awareness filled with tension, but a gentle attentiveness that allows the forest to respond without haste. Everything that moves does so with purpose, and everything that rests does so without guilt. The balance between action and rest feels natural here, as though it has always existed in this form. Scent becomes increasingly important during these hours. With minimal air movement, smells linger and overlap softly rather than dispersing quickly. The forest air carries layered information, the damp richness of soil, the faint resin of trees, the subtle decay of fallen leaves, and the living presence of animals that have passed through. These scents drift slowly, settling into the spaces between trunks and along familiar paths. For many forest inhabitants, this invisible landscape is as detailed as any visual map. Animals that rely on scent move carefully through this layered air. A brief pause, a lifted nose, a still body, all allow information to be gathered without movement. Each breath offers guidance. The forest communicates constantly in this way, without sound or light, through molecules suspended in cool air. This quiet exchange shapes decisions moment by moment, reducing uncertainty and unnecessary motion. Sound, too, continues to play a subtle role. Without wind to scatter it, even distant noises arrive intact. A call from far away may sound closer than it is, softened by distance but preserved by stillness. The forest structures help regulate this. Trunks break up vibrations, leaves soften sharp edges, moss absorbs echoes. The result is a soundscape that feels open and calm, allowing individual sounds to appear briefly and then dissolve. This acoustic clarity influences behavior throughout the forest. Movement becomes measured. Animals pause frequently, listening as much as moving. Even insects adjust their patterns, spacing calls and movements to avoid overlap. The forest feels cooperative in this way, not through intention, but through shared conditions that reward restraint. In the canopy, branches remain mostly still, but subtle shifts continue. Moisture collects and redistributes. Leaves hold droplets that gather slowly until gravity pulls them free. A single drop may fall, land softly and disappear into leaf litter below. These tiny events punctuate the quiet, gentle reminders that the forest is alive and responsive. Trees continue their internal regulation, maintaining balance without outward change. Respiration persists. Gases move in and out of leaves and bark. Across the forest, these exchanges shape the nighttime atmosphere, blending plant and animal respiration into a shared cycle. This cycle does not strain resources. It remains balanced, supported by the forest's ability to moderate extremes. Understory plants respond to darkness in subtle ways. Some close flowers, conserving moisture and protecting delicate structures. Others remain open, waiting for nighttime pollinators drawn by scent rather than color. Moths move through this space with soft, irregular paths, guided by chemical cues and faint light. Their presence feels gentle, almost weightless, as they contribute to reproduction without disturbing the calm. On the forest floor, decomposition continues steadily. Fallen material breaks down under the combined work of fungi, bacteria, and small invertebrates. This process is slow and constant, transforming endings into beginnings. Nutrients released into the soil diffuse gradually, supporting roots and microbial communities alike. Nothing is wasted. Everything returns to circulation. Deadwood becomes an important habitat during these hours. Within decaying logs, moisture remains trapped, creating a stable environment for insects and fungi. These communities work quietly, reshaping solid wood into soft material that can rejoin the soil. From the outside, the log appears unchanged, but internally it is a place of steady transformation. Soil continues to exchange gases with the air above. Carbon dioxide produced by roots and microorganisms moves upward slowly, while oxygen diffuses downward. These movements are gentle and continuous, maintaining conditions that support life below ground. Nighttime stability makes this exchange more efficient, reducing stress on roots and soil organisms. Water remains a quiet organizer of forest life. Dew settles on surfaces, increasing weight and softening textures. Leaf litter becomes heavier and quieter. Movement across the forest floor produces less sound, allowing animals to travel with reduced risk. Moisture also supports microbial activity, keeping decomposition and nutrient cycling active through the night. Predators and prey continue their careful interaction, shaped more by timing than by speed. A predator may wait for long periods, listening and sensing rather than moving. A prey animal may pause repeatedly, adjusting its route based on subtle cues. These interactions are not dramatic, they are efficient, reflecting a shared understanding of the forest's conditions. The sky above continues its slow progression, though its influence remains understated beneath the canopy. Variations in cloud cover alter humidity and light levels slightly. These changes ripple gently through the forest, influencing activity without forcing abrupt shifts. The forest absorbs them easily, maintaining internal balance. As the night stretches on, the sense of time becomes less defined. Without strong cues, hours blend together. This blending can feel comforting, offering relief from the need to track progress or anticipate outcomes. The forest exists without urgency, responding only to what is present. You may find that imagining this environment allows your own attention to loosen. Thoughts become less insistent, awareness drifts gently, supported by the forest's steady presence. There is no need to analyze or remember. The forest does not ask for understanding, it offers continuity instead. The darkness remains supportive, reducing stimulation and encouraging rest. Within this reduced sensory field, life continues efficiently, guided by patterns refined over long spans. The forest does not resist the night, it uses it, drawing stability from the absence of light. As this phase of night continues, the forest remains balanced and unbroken, sustained by countless small processes working together quietly. Nothing demands change, nothing requires effort. The system simply persists, calm and resilient, carrying on through the darkness with a patience shaped by countless nights before this one. As the night begins to move past its deepest point, the forest does not signal this shift in any obvious way. There is no announcement, no sudden lightening of the sky, no change that could be marked precisely. Instead, the forest remains within darkness while subtly preparing for what will eventually come. This preparation is not conscious or directed. It is the quiet accumulation of small adjustments guided by gradients of temperature, moisture, and internal rhythms that have been refined over countless cycles. The air remains cool, but it begins to feel slightly more even, as if the forest has fully settled into its nighttime shape. Earlier pockets of warmth and coolness have smoothed out, creating a uniform environment that supports stability. This uniformity reduces the need for constant adjustment. Living systems can maintain their internal balance with minimal effort, conserving energy and reducing stress. Trees continue their slow internal work. Within their tissues, chemical signals circulate gently, coordinating processes that extend far beyond this single night. Hormones that influence growth, dormancy, and resource allocation move gradually, integrating information gathered over days and weeks. Night offers uninterrupted time for these signals to travel and interact, shaping future behavior without urgency. Water movement within trees remains steady, with leaves no longer losing moisture rapidly. Internal pressures stabilize, allowing roots to continue absorbing water efficiently. This replenishment supports long-term health rather than immediate growth. The forest invests in endurance during these hours, strengthening its foundation rather than expanding outward. Leaves remain largely still, but their interaction with the environment continues. Moisture on their surfaces moderates temperature and protects tissues. Gas exchange persists quietly, blending with the respiration of animals and microorganisms. Across the forest, these countless exchanges shape the nighttime atmosphere, maintaining balance without drawing attention. The forest floor remains a place of steady continuity. Leaf litter insulates soil and absorbs moisture, preventing extremes. Beneath this layer, roots, fungi, and microorganisms continue their work. Decomposition proceeds at a measured pace, releasing nutrients that diffuse slowly through the soil. This recycling supports the forest's ability to renew itself, turning fallen material into future growth. Fungal networks remain active, maintaining connections between roots and soil. These networks do not expand rapidly at night, but they preserve continuity, ensuring that resources can move where they are needed. Through these connections, the forest functions as an integrated system rather than as isolated individuals. Stability emerges from cooperation rather than competition. Insects continue to follow nighttime rhythms shaped by efficiency. Many reduce activity further during this phase, resting between brief movements. These pauses conserve energy and reduce exposure, allowing insects to persist without drawing attention. The forest supports this behavior by remaining predictable and calm, offering few sudden disturbances. Mammals remain cautious but composed. Familiar roots guide movement, reducing uncertainty. Pauses allow listening and sensing to replace constant motion. This restraint reflects an understanding of the forest's conditions, where unnecessary movement can carry risk without benefit. The forest rewards patience by preserving acoustic clarity and scent stability. Predators remain present but selective. They rely on memory, positioning, and timing rather than pursuit. Waiting becomes a primary strategy, one that aligns with the forest's quiet. In still air, small movements carry information, and restraint allows that information to be gathered without interference. Sound remains sparse and spaced. Each noise appears briefly, then fades, leaving silence behind. This pattern reduces cognitive load, allowing both animals and imagined listeners to remain calm. The forest's acoustic environment continues to favor clarity over volume, supporting efficient communication without excess. Water continues to influence conditions gently. Dew remains on surfaces, keeping textures soft and movement quiet. Streams flow steadily, their surfaces smooth. Evaporation remains low, allowing moisture to stay within the system. Aquatic and terrestrial processes remain linked through shared conditions, maintaining continuity across boundaries. Above the canopy, the sky continues its slow progression. While darkness still dominates, subtle changes begin to accumulate. The position of stars shifts. Atmospheric pressure trends adjust slightly. These changes do not yet alter forest behavior, but they contribute to the gradual transition that will eventually follow. Seasonal cues remain integrated into the forest's responses. Plants and animals respond to accumulated information rather than immediate signals. Length of night, temperature patterns, and moisture trends guide long-term adjustments. This integration prevents overreaction, allowing the forest to remain stable even as conditions evolve. During this phase, the forest often feels deeply settled. Without strong sensory cues, time becomes less defined. Hours blend together, creating a sense of continuity rather than progression. This can feel soothing, offering relief from the need to track or anticipate. The forest exists comfortably within this span, guided by rhythms that do not require awareness. You may notice that imagining this environment allows your own thoughts to become less structured. The mind no longer needs to organize or plan. Awareness can rest on simple presence, supported by the forest's steady patterns. There is nothing to resolve, nothing to prepare for. The night holds everything in balance. Darkness continues to support this state by limiting stimulation. Visual input remains minimal. Sounds are spaced and gentle. Sensory demands are low. Within this reduced field, life continues efficiently, guided by long-established patterns that require little adjustment. As the night moves forward, the forest remains unchanged in any obvious way, yet constantly maintained. Countless small processes continue quietly, preserving balance and resilience. The system does not rush toward morning. It remains present, stable, and self-sustaining. You can remain alongside this steadiness without effort. The forest does not require observation or understanding. It continues its work regardless, shaped by repetition and patience. The night remains calm, and the forest remains within it, balanced and enduring, prepared quietly for whatever follows without needing to anticipate it. As the night continues beyond its deepest stillness, the forest begins to exist in a state that feels almost suspended between what has passed and what will eventually arrive. This is not a moment of anticipation. It is a moment of quiet continuity, where the forest remains fully aligned with darkness while slowly gathering the subtle signals that time is moving forward. Nothing shifts abruptly. Everything changes by degrees so small they can only be sensed through patience. The air remains cool and steady, but its character becomes slightly more uniform, as if the forest has reached a point of equilibrium. Temperature differences that once guided faint currents have softened further. Moisture remains evenly distributed, clinging to surfaces and lingering close to the ground. This evenness reduces strain on living tissues, allowing plants and animals to maintain internal balance with minimal effort. Trees continue their internal regulation, guided by gradients rather than clocks. Within their tissues, pressure and moisture remain balanced, supporting the integrity of long columns of water that stretch from roots to leaves. These columns persist through the night without interruption, a quiet demonstration of cohesion and stability. Nutrients circulate slowly, supporting maintenance rather than outward growth. The forest invests in endurance during these hours, reinforcing structures that will be relied upon when conditions change. Leaves remain mostly still, but their role in regulating the forest atmosphere continues. Respiration persists quietly, blending plant and animal processes into a shared exchange. Across the forest, oxygen and carbon dioxide move gently between living tissues and the surrounding air. This exchange does not strain the system. It remains balanced, supported by the forest's ability to moderate extremes. On the forest floor, conditions remain stable. Leaf litter holds moisture and warmth, insulating the soil beneath. This insulation protects roots and microorganisms from fluctuations, allowing biological activity to continue steadily. Decomposition proceeds without urgency, breaking down organic matter into forms that can re-enter circulation. This slow recycling ensures that nutrients remain available over long spans rather than being released all at once. Fungal networks continue to maintain their quiet connections. Their filaments persist through soil and decaying wood, linking roots and facilitating the movement of resources. These networks do not need to expand rapidly to be effective. Their strength lies in persistence and continuity, allowing the forest to function as an integrated system rather than a collection of separate parts. Insects active during this phase of the night move sparingly. Many remain still for long periods, conserving energy and reducing exposure. When movement occurs, it is brief and purposeful. Internal rhythms guide these patterns, balancing need and risk. The forest supports this efficiency by remaining predictable and calm, offering few sudden disturbances. Mammals follow similar principles. Movement remains deliberate, guided by familiarity rather than exploration. Known routes reduce uncertainty. Pauses allow listening and sensing to replace constant motion. This restraint reflects an understanding of the forest's nighttime conditions, where unnecessary movement can carry risk without benefit. Predators continue to rely on patience. Rather than pursuing, they wait, positioning themselves where opportunity is most likely to arise. This waiting is not passive, it is attentive, shaped by experience and familiarity with the landscape. The forest rewards this approach by preserving acoustic clarity and stable scent patterns, allowing subtle information to remain readable. Sound remains minimal but informative. Without wind or competing noise, even distant sounds arrive intact. A call, a movement, or a brief disturbance stands alone before fading back into silence. This spacing reduces confusion and stress, allowing animals to respond accurately without overreacting. The forest soundscape feels ordered, not busy. Water continues to integrate quietly into the forest's rhythm. Dew remains on surfaces, softening textures and reducing sound. Streams flow steadily, their surfaces smooth and reflective. Evaporation remains low, allowing moisture to stay within the system. Aquatic and terrestrial processes remain linked through shared conditions, maintaining continuity across boundaries. Above the canopy, subtle changes accumulate. The sky remains dark, but its geometry shifts. Stars move gradually, and atmospheric patterns adjust slightly. These changes are not yet meaningful to the forest in an immediate sense, but they contribute to long-term cues that guide seasonal behavior. The forest responds to averages rather than moments, gathering information slowly. Seasonal memory continues to shape responses. Plants and animals integrate signals over time, adjusting growth, reproduction, and activity patterns based on trends rather than single nights. This long-term perspective prevents overreaction, allowing the forest to remain stable even as conditions evolve. During this phase, the forest often feels deeply cohesive. Without strong contrasts or sudden changes, the environment appears unified. Each layer, from canopy to soil, operates in harmony with the others. This cohesion reduces internal conflict and supports resilience. The forest does not rely on control, it relies on balance. You may notice that imagining this environment encourages a sense of release. Without clear markers of time, the mind no longer needs to track progress. Thoughts lose urgency. Attention softens. The forest does not require decisions or conclusions. It allows presence without expectation. Darkness continues to support this state. By limiting stimulation, it reduces unnecessary activity and allows recovery to take place. Life continues efficiently within this reduced sensory field, guided by patterns refined over long spans. The forest remains fully at ease within the night, using it as a space for maintenance and quiet integration. As the night progresses, the forest remains unchanged in any dramatic sense, yet constantly sustained. Countless small processes continue quietly, preserving balance and resilience. The system does not rush toward morning. It remains present, stable, and self-sustaining. You can remain alongside this steadiness without effort. The forest does not require observation or understanding. It continues its work regardless, shaped by repetition and patience. The night remains calm, and the forest remains within it, balanced and enduring, carrying on through the darkness with a quiet confidence shaped by countless nights before this one. As the night reaches its final stretch, the forest does not awaken or prepare in any obvious way. It remains within darkness, still aligned with the calm it has maintained for hours. What changes now is not the forest itself, but the balance between continuation and release. The night has done its work. The systems that needed stillness have found it. The processes that required stability have been allowed to proceed without interruption. And so the forest remains, steady and complete, without needing to mark the passing of time. The air holds its cool consistency, no longer shifting in noticeable layers. Moisture remains suspended close to surfaces, clinging lightly to leaves, bark, and soil. This moisture softens everything it touches, rounding edges and reducing contrast. The forest feels unified, as though its many parts have blended into a single environment rather than a collection of separate elements. Trees stand unchanged in form, yet internally they reflect the quiet labor of the night. Maintenance has continued without pause. Cellular structures have stabilized. Minor stresses have been absorbed and corrected. Nutrients have circulated where they are needed most. These adjustments are not dramatic, but they are essential. They preserve strength over long spans of time, ensuring that when light returns, the forest will respond without strain. Water remains evenly distributed throughout the forest. Roots hold what they have absorbed. Soil retains moisture beneath its insulating layers. Streams continue their steady flow, unhurried and quiet. Evaporation remains low, allowing the forest to conserve its internal reserves. This careful handling of water is part of what allows forests to persist through changing conditions, adapting gradually rather than reacting sharply. Leaves remain still, their surfaces carrying faint traces of moisture. Gas exchange continues quietly, blending with the respiration of animals and microorganisms. Across the forest, countless living systems share the same air, contributing to a balanced exchange that requires no coordination or control. This shared atmosphere feels calm and stable, shaped by cooperation rather than competition. On the forest floor, decomposition continues at its measured pace. Fallen material breaks down steadily, releasing nutrients that diffuse slowly into the soil. Nothing is rushed, nothing is wasted. Endings become beginnings without announcement. This quiet recycling is one of the forest's most enduring strengths, allowing it to renew itself continuously without interruption. Fungal networks remain intact and responsive, maintaining connections that support balance across the ecosystem. Their presence ensures that resources can move where they are needed, smoothing differences rather than amplifying them. The forest functions as an integrated whole, sustained by relationships that do not depend on visibility or recognition. Insects and small animals remain mostly still during this phase, conserving energy and minimizing exposure. Movement, when it occurs, is brief and purposeful. Internal rhythms guide behavior gently, without urgency. The forest supports this restraint by remaining predictable and calm, offering few sudden disturbances. Predators remain present but quiet, their activity shaped by patience rather than pursuit. They rely on familiarity, memory, and timing rather than force. The forest rewards this approach by preserving clarity in sound and scent, allowing information to remain readable without amplification. Sound remains sparse and spaced. Each noise appears briefly, then dissolves back into silence. This pattern continues to reduce stimulation, allowing both animals and imagined listeners to remain at ease. The forest's acoustic environment remains open and uncluttered, offering space rather than demand. Above the canopy, the sky remains dark, but subtle shifts continue. The geometry of stars has changed slightly. Atmospheric conditions have adjusted by degrees too small to notice without instruments. These changes accumulate quietly, contributing to the larger cycles that guide seasonal behavior. The forest does not respond to any single signal. It responds to patterns gathered over time. Seasonal memory remains embedded in every living component. Plants and animals continue to integrate information gradually, preparing for future conditions without anticipation or concern. Growth, reproduction, and dormancy are guided by averages rather than moments, ensuring stability even as environments evolve. As the night approaches its close, the forest does not rush toward transition. It remains fully present within darkness, using the remaining hours as they are offered. Recovery continues. Balance holds. Nothing feels unfinished. The forest has no need to hurry. You may notice that imagining this state brings a sense of ease. The forest does not strive for resolution. It does not evaluate progress. It exists comfortably within continuation, trusting that change will arrive when it is ready. This trust is built from repetition, from countless nights that have ended without effort and countless days that have begun without force. The darkness itself begins to feel less like an absence and more like a resting place. It has reduced stimulation, softened boundaries, and allowed systems to settle. Within this reduced field, life has continued efficiently and quietly, guided by rhythms that do not require awareness. As the night reaches its quiet conclusion, the forest remains exactly what it needs to be: balanced, maintained, unbroken. It carries forward everything it has gathered from the hours of darkness, ready to respond gently when light eventually returns, without resistance or strain. You do not need to follow that return. You do not need to anticipate it. Like the forest, you can remain here, resting within continuity, allowing thoughts to fade without replacement. There is nothing left to consider, nothing left to resolve. The forest holds its calm, and the night, having done its work, simply continues on, quietly giving way, without sound, without urgency, without needing to be noticed.